Got an update for you on the case against Julian Assange and the attempt to extradite him to the United States. Of course, you guys know the background here. This prosecution was started under the Trump administration and has been continued under the Biden administration. Julian has been going through and trying to exhaust his appeals to stop this extradition. The very latest is this. Let's go ahead and put this up on the screen from Kevin Gustola, who has been following this very closely. He says UK Supreme Court refuses to hear appeal from WikiLeaks founder Julian Assange in extradition case. It goes to British Home Office for approval. No statement from Assange's defense, but it's likely his team appeals prior district court decision, which could keep him in the UK. Kevin wrote a longer piece on this. I'm going to read from a little bit of it because the legal mechanics are different from here and they're a little bit complex. So he says the Supreme Court maintained that the appeal did not, quote, raise an arguable point of law. That means they sent the case back to the Westminster Magistrates Court. That district court initially blocked the United States government's extradition request on January 4th, 2021. By refusing to grant Assange a hearing, the U.S. government effectively won their appeal. Prosecutors convinced the British courts to disregard concerns that he may be subject to treatment in a U.S. jail or prison that would be oppressive to his mental health. Now, there are additional appeals that Julian can engage in. We'll see whether those ultimately pan out. In particular, what Kevin points to here is, the question that was at play here was just this question of whether the conditions in U.S. prisons were ultimately too cruel.
Right.
So according to Kevin, he has an opportunity to submit an appeal on the issues of freedom of the press that have not been addressed by the High Court yet. So that's likely the next direction that his legal team goes in.
Yeah, we were talking about this before. Brits, your legal system is whack.
I mean, I'm sure ours is equally confusing from the outside. We're more used to it.
I will display my U.S. chauvinism. Ours is not based upon 1,000 years of British common law, okay? Ours is rooted in a much better legal tradition.
Ours is inspired by 1,000 years of British common law.
Yeah, we've evolved past their idiocy. So Brits, get your stuff together. I'm sure you'll get a bunch of hate mail for that. That being said, there are still some avenues through which this could go. But I think that this still, at this perilous time, just highlights the threat to press freedom. If you prosecute him, then you set the standard that releasing classified information in and of itself, which is an act of journalism, is a crime. And we can't have that, especially at a time like this with Russia. What kind of Pentagon papers are there inside of the Pentagon that could leak eventually 5-6 years from now about the real intelligence assessments or whatnot? Would they criminalize that? Because it's certainly possible.
Yeah.
And if that's true, then I'm against this 100%.
And by the way,
take the merits out of it.
WikiLeaks, we obviously focus a lot in the U.S. on what has been leaked about the U.S., but WikiLeaks has leaked on, major governments all around the world. They really don't discriminate in that way. But even putting aside how you feel about what they put out and how they put it out, the Obama administration, they wanted to very much to go after Julian. They hated him too.
Right.
But they could not see how to build a case that did not also implicate other publishers, New York Times, anybody. And so they said, we can't do it. Trump, under Barr, took this much more aggressive stance and posture, reportedly even, considering assassinating him, these insane plots. They decided to prosecute him. That was the wrong move. And now the Biden administration is continuing it and continuing to push for his extradition. And the toll that has been taken on Julian as a human being, on his family, is insane and outrageous. And they really do. I mean, we've obviously talked to his brother here a number of times. They really do fear for his well-being and his life. If he gets extradited to the U.S., his mental health is extraordinarily precarious. So, on a personal level for them, this is outrageous, but obviously, there are massive implications here for freedom of the press. And I think, as you said, Saagar, as we see the crackdown on all sorts of media and the bans and the censorship and that direction moving forward with increasing velocity among the American public, that makes this particular case even more vital than it was before.
Yeah, I completely agree. At this time, we need to do everything we can to set the standard on press freedom, and this is a case where that's just simply, it's antithetical to that. And Unfortunately, a lot of the people crying about the Russia law, misinformation law, they're not going to say a word about this one. You can't be consistent in that regard.
Yeah, no, that's exactly right.
Yeah.
And, you know, your adversaries will throw this right back in your face, and we've seen it done
100%.
before to point out your hypocrisy. All right, guys, we'll continue to stay on it. Definitely follow Kevin Gosztola, who has been really keeping track of all of the developments here, and we'll have more for you later.
Hey guys, we're going to be totally upfront with you. This is the most perilous time that we have ever operated in.
It is so difficult just to try to sort through the news, but even more importantly, to bring you accurate information as this wave of lockdown and censorship spreads across the nation.
Yeah, look, if you can become a premium subscriber today at breakingpoints.com, you're going to help us build out a vibrant, independent media ecosystem which is free of mainstream pressure. We can't tell you how important that is at a time like this.
Yep, that's right. Go to breakingpoints.com to subscribe. We love you guys, and we appreciate you so much.